Well, good morning. It's Sunday, and we've passed the midpoint in an April unlike any we've seen before. We'll talk about that and also about the Mackinac Bridge, and the conversation starts right now.
From TV6, this is The Ryan Report. Here's your host, Don Ryan.
Today is April 19th, and for at least the next 11 days, we'll continue to live our lives in accordance with the governor's Stay Home, Stay Safe campaign. I'm part of that group, and today starts the 5th week for me of working from home. It's been a very different experience for me, and I'm sure for many of you. Of course, not everyone is working at home, and there are some real heroes out on the front lines. Leading that group are the healthcare workers and first responders, but there are many others, including police and firemen and all of those who keep essential services running. We thank them all. But back to working at home. One thing people have come to depend on more than ever today is television. It's a source of vital information and also entertainment. With that in mind, I spoke with TV6 General Manager Rick Rhodes about what the station is doing to keep employees healthy.
The first thing that we've done is we started to, and we've kind of rolled it out into sections here in phases, but about 70% of our employees are working remote right now. I'm here at the station. We have a select few news people that are at the station, but we have a lot of our reporters that are working remotely. And what we've done with them is we've just provided them a camera, provided them some lighting, and provided them a station car, and also some of the other tools that are needed to that they would just get here at the station, where they could just go right from home and go to the story and go gather the news. So we've also made investments in video chat software like this, paying for subscriptions. We have Microsoft Teams, we have Zoom. So there's just a lot of things that we've done to, one is to keep people out of the building, to protect the building, but also primarily is to keep our employees safe.
I'm not sure anyone fully understands what a challenge it is in our business to have so many people working from home when we depend so much on technology to do what we have to do. Has that been difficult for the station?
And also just from the social side of things, right? So folks are used to coming to work and socializing with their coworkers and seeing their coworkers, building relationships, building bonds. That's all gone now. We don't have a lot of the face-to-face interaction. It's done on a lot of these devices, with video chats and stuff like that, emails. It's really put a damper on our sales team, who are very social. Socially driven, building relationships with clients and customers. They don't get to see them anymore. And so it's been a real challenge. And also too, just interpersonal communication, keeping the communication stream rolling. I can tell you that I've been crafting a lot of station-wide emails, trying to encourage people, trying to give people some direction on where we're going, trying to give people some insight on the current situation and what to expect. But yeah, just not having that face-to-face interaction has been a real challenge.
Viewers see some of our news people on the air every day, but isn't it a fact there are also a lot of other people behind the scenes that are helping to make things work?
Our business manager and HR manager is really, she's had her hands full. Just because, in anxious times like this and stressful times, people need someone to talk to, and so our company provides a phenomenal employee assistance program, and so she's been managing that if people need it, if employees need it. We have our operations behind the scenes. Those folks are actually essential. Our on-air operations employees, they have to be in the building. So we've had to take some steps and some procedures to make sure that their work environment is clean, is safe, and that the social distancing is happening. Down in the operations area, it's pretty confined area. So we've had just to make sure that, traffic going in and out of there is minimal, that the number of people in there is minimal. And then all that said, you get press conferences with the governor, you get the opportunity to talk to the governor, right? So to try to mobilize and engage with, limited personnel and spaces, sometimes makes it difficult. And you're right. People don't appreciate some of the stuff that happens behind the scene. It's not as easy. When we get notification that the governor, we're going to have 10 minutes with the governor, it's not as easy as flipping a switch. So, we have to take into consideration things now like social distancing and cleanliness and those types of things.
And I know you've even gone so far as moving people around in the building, including people in the news department who are occupying other areas just to be safe.
Yeah, that's one of the things is we do have we do have a nice sized building, and the upstairs portion of our building is mostly the administrative offices, and this is where the sales office is as well. And so with that all being vacant, we're able to take folks from the newsroom, move them upstairs, spread people out, make them feel more comfortable, keep the building more safe. But it does pose a little bit of an inconvenience because folks are having to go up and down the stairs a little bit more. Their coworkers aren't readily available, to look over and ask them a question. They have to walk down the stairs or pick up the phone. But it's one of the things that has to be done in order to keep our people safe. So
I know it's been an interesting experience for me working from home, doing what I'm trying to do. So we're all learning through the process, I guess.
I was actually thinking about that. So let's think about that for a second. So you were here when we were black and white, correct?
Right.
You saw the transition from black and white to color. You saw the transition from analog to digital.
Right.
You were part of many set designs and redesigns. Now you were part of this brand new set design. And now you're broadcasting remotely. So you literally done it all.
Yeah, I think I probably have.
Who
knows what's around the corner? Television ratings are up, aren't they? People are depending on television, not just for news, which is really important, but for entertainment as well.
Television ratings are up a lot. I just looked at this yesterday. Most of our newscasts are up double digits, anywhere from 10 to 20%, depending on the newscast. Ratings across the board in prime time. We use ComScore as a ratings provider, and they always give us a weekly report to show us kind of where all of the ratings are, where our programs stack up with other programs in the market. And for the first time ever, the top 10 primetime programs were all NBC. It's the first time I've ever seen that. And normally it's a collection of NBC, ABC, CBS, and Fox, but it was all top 10, all 10 were NBC.
We'll continue our conversation with Rick Rhodes after we take this break. Well, once again this week I am working from home, but using the amazing technology we have today, I was able to talk with TV6 General Manager Rick Rhodes. I asked Rick about the fact that now more than ever, people are turning to television for news and entertainment.
TV usage is way up, news ratings are way up, and also our website traffic is way up. It's almost double where it was at. And to put that into perspective, last year in March, we did about 5.1 million page views, which is pretty normal for us. This March, we did over 9 million page views. And all of that is because of the coronavirus coverage. Our unique viewers are double. We're over 1 million unique viewers in just March alone. 130 video plays on our website, which is just massive. Normal video plays on our website are anywhere from 50 to 70,000. We're at 130,000, and we've had 3.6 million sessions on our website. So this traffic is, people are using television, they're using digital, and they're using them more than they ever have right now.
Is there any thought about cutting back on any of the news programming because of what we're going through, or do you feel we can continue to do what we've been doing?
That's a really good question. We have a worst case scenario plan already drawn up that requires minimal staff. That's worst case scenario. That's if there's a massive outbreak here in our area. That's if our building is compromised by coronavirus. But we have those plans, but right now there's no need to move forward with those plans. But if we did, there would be a minimal newscast, and we'd have to make it'd be a day-to-day kind of call that we'd have to make.
It's been interesting to see the networks doing the same kinds of things, or Kelly and Ryan. I mean, people talk shows doing them from home. It's just been a unique experience throughout the industry, hasn't it?
It's been very unique. I've never seen anything like. No one has ever seen anything like this. And I think that it's great to see where technology has gone now, and what we're able to do and what we're capable of doing. This also, there's been some positives that have come out of this, because it's really going to make us kind of look at our business and look at our operations and go, can we do things a little bit smarter? Can we do things more remotely? Can we utilize technology to be more efficient? So there has been some positives that have come out of this. And so, once the dust settles, who knows where this is going to take us.
This is something you probably don't have an answer to, but I've done some reading, I'm sure you have, about the fact that networks, the people that bring us the entertainment shows we watch, aren't sure where they're going. Normally at this time they have the summer schedule set and have a plan for where they hope to be in the fall. But those shows are not being produced, and no one knows when they'll start up again.
They're not. And I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. And so they actually are not able to finish producing their final episode for the season. So we're left with cliffhangers right now. Nice. We have no closure. But yeah, you're absolutely right. This postponed a lot of filming, a lot of events. Right now the NFL schedule would normally be out by now. That's being delayed another month. I think the NFL schedule is coming out sometime around May 9th. I still think there's some questions on what's going to happen there. But on the positive side, the Major League Baseball is talking about, how they can get started maybe in late May. And so, making adjustments there. And so, just like you said, it depends on what you read and who you listen to and what you watch. And, over here you got, one set of figures and one set of predictions and forecasts. And over here, there's different things happening. I think the one thing that's for sure is that there's still a lot of uncertainty.
I know you went on recently and reminded people how important it was to do the things that are being recommended, to follow the guidelines. And it seems that some people aren't understanding or don't seem to really take it seriously enough, do they?
No, I think people really need to realize that this is, these next couple of weeks and this last month have been, not normal. And we can't treat this time as a normal period. We can't do the things that we normally do. And, like I mentioned in my editorial piece, and you don't like to come across as preachy, but something just needs to be said and something needs to be done. And it needs to be brought to the forefront that, there's still some irresponsible behavior happening right now out there. And, people shouldn't be getting together in the park. People shouldn't be gathering at the skate park. People shouldn't be gathering at all. And this is only for the short term. And, that's how the virus spreads is contact from one person to the next. And if you can minimize that, you can really, really isolate the chance that you could have cross-contamination.
Any final thoughts before we wrap it up today?
Well, thank you, Don, for your versatility in working remote, and hopefully we can get you back here in the studio sooner than later. And I just let everybody know out there: stay safe, be smart, make good choices, and we're one day closer to this whole thing being over, and we're confident that we're closer than ever now for this COVID-19 coronavirus, this whole thing to be over. So.
When we return, I'll dig into the archives for a visit with the person in charge of the Mackinac Bridge. I'll be back in 2 minutes. The Mackinac Bridge is a magnificent structure, but it's much more than that. It serves to connect two separate parts of a great state, and it's been life-changing for those who live on both sides of the bridge. Last year, Kim Nowak was named the Executive Secretary of the Mackinac Bridge Authority. That means she's the person in charge. While she's new in this assignment, she's very familiar with the mighty Mac, having served as the chief engineer on the bridge since 2002. We talked with her about a variety of things, including the fact the Labor Day Bridge Walk has meant a lot to people for many years.
Yeah, it does. People have been enjoying that one day that they can walk across the bridge for a long time.
And you had to make some changes recently. Why did that come about?
Well, we had to make some changes where we didn't allow private vehicles to be on the bridge at the same time that we had the walkers on the bridge. So that was the first change we made a few years ago. That was asked for by the Department of Homeland Security and the Michigan State Police. So we worked with that for a year, and then we came up with a new scheme where instead of walking only one direction, you can start from either ends of the bridge, and a lot of different options. You can walk all the way across, you can walk across and back if you want to be what's called a double crosser.
Okay.
Or you can walk to the middle and turn around and come back, or you can just walk a small portion if that's all you're capable of and turn around and come back.
And it's amazing the number of people who do it. How many people do you estimate this year?
This year we estimated 30,000 people, and
30,000.
yeah, and that was up about 5,000 from the previous 2 years.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
With the bridge closed to all vehicles, there must be a lot of coordination that has to go on with police agencies, with the ferry operators, with all the people involved.
That's right, and we get the word out way early before Labor Day on the big message boards you see all the way down into the Detroit area, telling people that they won't be able to get across there for those few hours during Labor Day while we're having the walk. And so far that's worked wonderful. People are getting the message and they're not waiting in line. They're planning their trip accordingly so they don't get stuck in that.
Right. Any other changes in the future, or does it seem to be working well the way it is now?
It was working well, so we're going to use the same scheme next year, the same early notices to everybody, and just try to polish it up a little bit and make it even better next year.
I have to assume that other than maintaining the bridge, safety must be the #1 consideration.
Yeah, safety is very important, and especially for our workers. We definitely go through a lot of safety training, make sure that they know how to do their job safely. It's very important.
What about safety on the bridge itself? I read that more than 150 million cars have crossed the bridge, and only 2 have left the bridge, and one of those may have been deliberate, according to the state police.
That's
so
right.
That's a pretty good safety record.
Oh, it's an excellent safety record, yeah. And that's one reason that we try to keep the speeds down lower, and then when we have wind conditions, we do the escorting, so we force people to go slower if they're in a wind-susceptible vehicle. So, yeah, we take that very seriously.
Do you do a lot of enforcement on speeds, or do people pretty well respect the speed limits?
Well, we have some speed readers out on
Right.
the bridge that will tell you when you're going over the speed limit of 45, and then the state police is located right near us. They lease part of our facility there, and so they're right close to us, and they can respond to anything they need to out on the bridge. So they keep a good eye on things too.
Okay. And talking about weather, weather is really the only thing that closes the bridge? Probably?
Weather and accidents.
Accidents,
Sometimes
certainly.
if we have an accident, it'll be closed partway.
It seems like in recent years the bridge may have closed a little more frequently because of weather. Is that, first of all, is that true? And second, is that a policy change or a weather change, or just the way it's played out?
It's, well, a little bit of all of that. It's not a policy change, and the bigger closures that we've had recently were for falling ice.
That's right.
Where we get a freezing rain event, and then it'll get up to a thaw, and some of it'll come crashing down. And the last few events that have been long, it hovered right around the freezing mark, and so it just came down a little bit at a time. So we had to keep it closed during all that falling ice.
Other than that, fog, snow, and wind are the biggest factors, right?
That's right, yeah. And sometimes we have blizzard conditions, and the wind isn't up to our threshold of 65 miles an hour, but it's low visibility, 0, and so we'll end up closing for something like that.
How are those decisions made? Is there a team, an individual? How does it?
Well, we have maintenance workers that are out on the bridge using their own eyeballs looking at things, and then we know what the wind speed is from our monitors that we have, so we're able to watch for things, watch for that falling ice, watch for the low visibility, and it's kind of a team effort to decide closures if it isn't based on our wind monitors or things like that.
It was a pleasure to get to meet and talk with Kim Nowak. I'll have some thoughts about April and spring in just 2 minutes. Of all the months that come to call, could April be the most cruel of all? Obviously, it's the weather that has caused me to become a poet today. Another way to put it this morning, if we recognize that disappointment is the norm, you will not be disappointed by the April storm. Okay, that's enough poetry. You've probably guessed my demeanor this morning is because of the storm we all woke up to this past Monday morning. Depending on where you live, you received at least a foot or two of snow, and it wasn't light and fluffy stuff either. I don't know about you, but I just feel like I've been deceived again by Mother Nature. I was seriously thinking spring. The snow around my neighborhood was gone, except for those few spots where it had been piled deeper in the winter. People were raking leaves and going through the usual spring routines. I had even gone so far as to remove the patio furniture from my garage, which just meant it was in the way when I was out shoveling and blowing snow. And what about the storm itself? A few inches I can take in stride, but one of the largest storms of the winter in April, it's just not fair. And it wouldn't have been quite as bad if it had been followed by a quick major warm-up and snow melt, but that didn't happen either. The fact is, I guess I'm just a sucker. I've been around long enough that I should know that things like this are going to happen. It should be no surprise. The fact that spring arrives in March on the calendar means nothing when you live in Upper Michigan. You know, as I watched the snow coming down, I remember watching Carl Bonack and the rest of the TV6 meteorologists through January and February and March as their reports continued to show the temperatures averaging above normal. Why shouldn't April be the same? Why be an exception? And even with the major storm this week, we're a long way from record snowfall for this month. In fact, it's nowhere near the record. Because, and some of you may even recall it, in 2002, 83 inches of snow fell in April. 83 inches. That's almost 7 feet of snow. I can only imagine the disappointment for those wishing for spring that year. Personally, I think I've blanked it from my memory. So where do we go from here? It remains to be seen. I'd suggest you put away your Easter bonnet and hang on to your stormy Cromer. April still has a week and a half to go, and who knows what that might bring. Let's hope it's not a return to 2002. All we can do is get our rakes and lawnmowers and garden tools set to go and hope for the best. But don't forget which of the months can be the most cruel of all. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Well, that's our show from home for this Sunday morning. Thanks to Rick Rhodes for joining us this week, and to Kim Nowak, who was with us on an earlier broadcast. And a special thanks to you for joining us. I hope the coming week brings only good things for you and your family, and that you'll join us again next Sunday morning.